So, we know about responsive web design and what it's supposed to do, but how we work with it is all with these things called media queries. So, let's go into what is a media query. Pretty much, a media query is just the big land of if. And if you're into JavaScript or ActionScript or C, those languages, well, yes, in the land of web development, we can have if statements also. And to simplify that concept, it's kind of like, well, if you have this monitor over here, do this. And if you have these cell phones of these sizes over here, do this. And if you have a laptop, show this. And if you have a big screen television, show this. And if you have this smartphone over here and it's in a portrait position, do this. But if you're in a landscape situation, do that. It's all about ifs, and we take care of all of these ifs with media queries. Now, here you go. You have a general CSS external or internal style sheet. Where you put your CSS, that's up to you. Everything that I'm telling you, you could do it with an embedded CSS style sheet, or you could do it with an external CSS style sheet. None of those rules change. Some people will have, or I've seen hundreds of times, where people have their general CSS style sheet, and then they'll have a different style sheet just for media queries. It doesn't matter, but you'll have your general CSS style sheet, and then you have a different section, either in that style sheet or in a separate style sheet, that takes care of doing the this and the that. So you've got your general CSS, but then you have your media queries to take care of these different devices. Now, when I say general, there is no such thing as general. There's so many devices out there. Now it's getting to the point where, this device used to be general, but now you've got those big screen televisions out there, and you've got to work up to them and come down. So there is no general, so you almost have to make a media query for everything that you can imagine on the planet. So here we go. Here's my general CSS style sheet. I might have some ID or class. It's called my text box. The width is this, the height is that. Here's the color red, text align center. Okay, so that's going to show up okay over here, but I want it to show up in this smartphone perfectly right here. So here I start my media query. I could have it in the same CSS document or in a separate CSS document. It's up to you, but a media query starts with an @ sign, and notice the code: media only screen and max width 320. So pretty much it's saying, hey, if the device is 320 or under, show them this with a width of 320 instead of a width of 1000. It processes, it works. The general CSS up here is 1000 by 800, but if it sees the smartphone that is in portrait mode, it's going to change whatever you show them to 320 by 450. But notice I didn't change the color and the text align. I left that out because whatever you put up here in your general CSS, that's processed first, so only things that you are going to change would show up down here in your media query. And that's why you're going to have a general CSS. Your fonts are in there, your font sizes are in there. Only the stuff that you want to change from device to device to device, usually that's widths, heights, and I'm being very general here. Most likely, Images aren't going to change. Maybe the sizes will, but fonts aren't going to change. Maybe the sizes will, going from device to device. But certain things, background colors are not going to change. Perhaps background images might not change, but only the things that change need to be listed here, and your original stuff will be inherited from the general CSS document. Now, I made up a snippet. I saved these sizes, 1700, 1300, 1100, da, 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 and it's almost like a big if statement. I've got the media query, and then I have CSS in the media query. Here you go. So here for this one at 320, I could have a whole list, almost an entire style sheet within the media query. So what you do, you would just take everything that you're going to change. For 1700, well, the width's going to be 1700, max width 1300, max width 1100. Now, notice these close ones. When I was first doing this, I was thinking, why is this one 1300 and this one's 1100? Those are awfully close, but that's for the portrait landscape differential. This one down here, 870, 700. That might fit for an iPad. Up, down, sideways, upright, sideways, upright. Or down here, maybe for the Galaxy Note 3. Up, sideways, up, sideways. You have to take that into consideration. And the thing is, when you do this, the question is, well, which of these sizes should I use? Well, it's your kitchen. Do what you want. But I'm finding that you can look it up, and there are all types of very helpful grids and systems. And now that you know what responsive web design is, this is an introduction to media queries, but you do want to find out what widths and heights to use. We'll go into this further as we go through this title, but look it up. There are thousands of what they call fluid grid systems out there. Just do a search on Google, or fluid grid templates that will provide you with a free web page to work with, and with free media queries, sizes, and CSS within it to work with. But after I was banging my head up the wall thinking about, well, what's right? What widths and heights should I use? What should I use, percentages or pixels? We'll discuss that in another title. And the more I got into it, I found some real world-renowned professionals that just said, go with your design, go with your heart, do what you think is right, and see what works as you go from project to project to project. One of the first projects that I did was my own website. And let's see if I can grab it here. If I got like here, over here. Yeah. Now, here we are. And gosh, this took me it was a trip getting this done. But notice this. I start out wide. Menu items come down. And we get thinner and thinner, then it collapses more, so my menu items come in further, and I come in further. Now we're ready for tablets and devices, okay? And I called my friends, and I said, hey, check out my website. And, well, they went to the website, but they don't change screen size. You know, if you ask your grandmother to look at your website, they say, well, like, so what? Because it's just in one size. So, you know, my website is percentage based, meaning that, you know, the width and height are all percentages, but for you don't have to use percentages. You can just make it so that when they get to this size, it does that, get to that size, do that. So there is no right and wrong, and many of the details that you're paying great attention to, many people will never even notice. So let's move along. How to control your media queries and how to work with responsive web design.